Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. So in this video we are going to be reviewing Wonder Woman. Now whilst I did enjoy this movie, I do feel like it is very overhyped. On the positive, you know, the origin storyline of this character is really cool. The world of the Amazons is really cool as well. The equality messaging is great. And the fish out of water comedy moments are really cool as well. However, on the flip side, the World War I setting was really dull. The characters outside of Diana and Steve were really weak, and the mythology aspects of the film really should have been pushed more. But you know, all in all, it is a fun movie. The action scenes are excellent. Gal Gadot is absolutely phenomenal in the role. And when you look back, you'll be like, actually, this is a pretty emotional film as well. So, you know, all in all, it is a bit of a mixed one, and I'm going to break down exactly why I feel like it is a bit of a mixed movie that is slightly overhyped in this movie review. Now, in terms of the plot of this movie, I thought it was really clever how they used the rest of the DCEU as a storytelling device in this film, as we were obviously introduced to the character of Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman in Batman vs Superman. So they kind of continued that thread with Bruce Wayne kind of sending a photo to Diana and asking her about it, which led to her flipping into the past and exploring the rest of the storyline in this movie, which I thought was really clever. And we then have another storyline strand, which is baby Wonder Woman asking her mother about kind of the mythology of the gods and Zeus and all of this sort of stuff. And you then kind of enter into the super past, where you explore how Zeus kind of created the Amazons to protect humanity. And then Ares, who is another god, gets really jealous and hatches a plan to kill all of the humans, kill all of the Amazons, and kill all of the other gods. Zeus and Ares then have a big fight, and Zeus wounds Ares, and then Ares kind of retreats and runs away, and now nobody knows where on earth Ares is. We then kind of zoom back into Diana / Wonder Woman being a young child, and she is very mesmerized by all of the other Amazons, and then reluctantly from her mother gets the decision made that she is going to train up and becoming a super fighter within the Amazon world. We then travel forwards to 1918, where Diana / Wonder Woman is a bit more grown up, and where she meets US spy Steve, who tells her all about the ensuing war in the outside world. Convinced that this is Ares, she goes with Steve to stop Ares and to stop World War I. Now, the movie's storyline works really well, as it's got a lot of, you know, action, comedy, romance, and superpowers. I'm just personally not a big fan of war movies, and also I just feel like some of the characters were really weak. Now, speaking of weak characters, this movie is really mixed, as it's got some really great performances from some of the actors, but then some really bad / cringy performances from the other characters, which just means overall, from an actors and characters point of view, this movie is pretty jarring. Now first, let's go to Gal Gadot, who plays Diana / Wonder Woman, and just does a phenomenal performance in this role. She is powerful, brave, witty, funny, and just has a pure heart of gold, and balances both the superhero and comedic notes really well. In terms of the comedy, this is one of the really strong aspects of the movie, as the character has been growing up in the isolated world of the Amazons, and only really knows about the Amazons and has no idea what it's like living in the wild, and especially in the UK and in London, as they go to in this film. So it's a real fish out of water moments in terms of this character who knows nothing about the world is now experiencing things for the first time and is very judgmental of certain things, but carries it off in a very humorous way. So those moments are just absolutely brilliant in terms of the real fish out of water moments. And then we have the action sequences, which are honestly just absolutely brilliant. Gal Gadot just does such a strong job in terms of just doing all of the action sequences, all of the fighting scenes, all of the chase sequences super well, and just carries them off with absolute ease. We then have Chris Pine, who plays Steve in this movie, and similarly he does a really good job in terms of balancing both the action and the comedic moments in this movie, and he does a really good job in terms of stepping up to the kind of flip of the traditional gender roles in this movie. But you know, apart from Steve and apart from Diana / Wonder Woman and the Amazons, the rest of the cast are just really, really bad in this movie, especially the rest of the group that are with Diana and Steve. Their performances are so bad, their characters are absolutely awful, and they really just detract and take away from the film. So I just feel like from a supporting cast point of view, this movie is pretty weak. Finally, we have the villain of this film. Now, he was better than most in terms of you understand the motivations behind this character, and they had some really nice twists and turns. But I just feel like the final reveal just wasn't as impactful as it should have been. So overall, some of the characters were decent, but some of them were really, really bad. So it was really mixed from a character's point of view. From a visuals point of view, this movie is really, really strong. The battle sequences looked absolutely excellent. The world of the Amazons looked absolutely awesome. You really do feel like you're in there, as it's very immersive, and they just created that world really, really well. And the overall tone and aesthetic is really, really good as well. I'm just personally not a massive fan of war movies, especially World War I and World War II based movies. So for me, it wasn't the best, but from a visuals point of view, it was very, very strong. In terms of comparisons, I do feel like this is a very strong origin film. In terms of a female-led movie, I do prefer Captain Marvel to Wonder Woman, but I do really appreciate the DCEU connections that they had in this film. And in terms of comparing it to other origin movies within the DCEU slate, I feel like this is way stronger than Man of Steel, but maybe not as strong as Aquaman and Shazam. So overall it is a pretty decent movie, but comparatively I feel like it's better than some and not as good as others. Overall for me, Wonder Woman is a strong movie. It's got brilliant visuals, very strong action sequences, and excellent lead characters. It's just a shame that they were let down by the supporting cast, and just for me personally, I'm just not a massive fan of World War I and World War II movies. But that being said, the world and the aesthetic that they create are really, really cool. And my favourite aspect of the film, like I said before, is the fish out of water moments where they kind of have this character that was kind of grown up in this very secluded world of the Amazons and then enters the world of the Earth. And as we know in Batman vs Superman, Justice League, etc., this character does climatize with our world. But it was just really nice to kind of see the journey in which he's kind of discovering everything, a little bit like a child, and is just learning about how things are and why they are a certain way, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. So for all of those reasons, I just feel like for me personally, Wonder Woman is a bit of a mixed movie. I cannot wait for the sequel. I feel like the sequel will be really, really cool. But as far as this movie goes, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I'd love to hear what you think, so please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.